So today I'm at Anna and Jacob's place in Didsbury, Alberta, which is about 1 hour north of Calgary. It's a super extreme climate, just like Calgary. It gets hail, it gets down to -40. They've got anywhere from 90 to 110 growing days here. So it's a tough place to grow. And what's really cool about this greenhouse, there's lots of things that are really cool about it, but number one is it's in the shape of a geodesic dome. So geodesic domes are unique in that they maximize the volume inside and they minimize the surface area. So that's the first thing. Number two, Jacob is just ingenious when it comes to building, and he's able to bring together all sorts of incredible materials that I would never have thought of as an engineer necessarily. And so the greenhouse that I'm standing in front of right now costs somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 to $1,000 and was able to be constructed in about a day, maybe 2 days, depending on how good you are at carpentry. And so when you get inside of the greenhouse, what you're going to see are some really neat systems. They've got a 2,000 or 3,000 liter water tank that stores thermal energy. They've found a really innovative way to capture that thermal energy and store it, which helps them to store the energy through the day and then release it back at night. The great thing with this dome, the last great thing with this dome, is that it's completely scalable. So if you want to go with a 40-foot dome or a 15-foot dome, the instructions are basically the same. So Anna and Jacob run northernhomestead.com. They've been blogging for about 4 years, and they've just filled their website with information so that people like you can go out and garner and learn from them, learn from their mistakes, learn from their successes. And so I highly recommend you go check that blog out. I know for a fact there's some really exciting stuff coming up on their blog in the next 6 to 12 months, so make sure you keep an eye on it. And let's take a look at this case study. You're going to learn a lot about how to build a greenhouse in a completely different way than I've talked about in most of my other videos.
Yeah, Jacob and Anna, we run northernhomestead.com and live in Didsbury, which is north of Calgary, 1 hour.
Once Jacob built the dome, I started loving it more and more because of the sun radiation that comes in. Like, we have sunshine all day here. Like, there's never an angle that the sun would not come in at the perfect, And plants grow amazingly. Tomatoes grow amazingly. This year we actually had a 3.5 pound tomato in this dome, which is amazing. Like, it was almost like a pumpkin. But I love it. I love the height because the middle of the dome is quite high, so we can grow indeterminate tomatoes, and we still have to top them. It's very, very nice. And then around there's space that is lower. It took me a little bit to figure out how to plant in a dome, where to plant it so it's working well. But yeah, it's good. A plastic cover for greenhouse gives you about 3 degrees at night. So it isn't a lot, but it still allows us to plant about 2 to 3 weeks earlier, maybe up to a month, for summer crop. But we also grow winter crop in here, and I usually plant about March the first piece in here. And this year we had a very cold March. It was -20 degrees, but I still planted some just to see what happens, and they did germinate and they did grow, which was amazing. So if we grew more cold weather crops, we could use it way longer. But the challenge is, because we want to use the dome in May for tomatoes, so we limit our winter growing plants to a minimum. There are challenges with growing in a greenhouse. It's not like growing outside. You usually have a lot more bugs in the greenhouse, just because the wind and the rain doesn't come. As with the soil, you have to be careful. Like, we usually soak the soil prior to planting, just to imitate the rain, like a washing the soil, so to speak. And you always have to take care of your soil, because it's, even though in this dome we have normal soil, because we have soil that's on the ground, it's really like moving a portion of the garden south, because the dome is on the soil. But you still have to take care of your soil more than you would in a garden. Plants do struggle in a greenhouse, in the dome too, because of the heat. And our heat exchange helps, but there's still, during the day, it can get really, really hot. And during the night, if it's a 6-degree night, it's still quite cool. So yeah, those are challenges.
Yeah, to manage the heat in the greenhouse, we use a system that I call just normal heat exchanger. I have an old car radiator that I place at the top of the greenhouse, and also a fan above it. So during the day, when the greenhouse heats up, the dome heats up, then I'll have the heat going pushed through the hot air pushed through the radiator, and the radiator circulates the water, which we store in a tank. It's about just a little over 2,000 liters of water we have in here in the tank. And so the pump circulates the water, and during the day I save the heat in the water, and because water has the highest heat capacity that we can use, we store the heat energy from the greenhouse in the water, and then use it for the night, where it's still, the radiator keeps the greenhouse warm when the outside is going down to 10 or even lower than 10 degrees. I haven't measured the effectiveness of it. I just know that the greenhouse in the summer, even though there's no venting, it doesn't go up higher than 40 degrees Celsius. And the water actually warms up to 25 and higher during the day. So that's temperature 25 degrees at night. When you warm your greenhouse, it's plenty. That's a big difference to the 10 degrees outside. Well, in total, the building materials would be maybe around 500. We spent a little more because we bought a roll of plastic that was more than I needed. But in total, if you do it all yourself, it would be around 500 Canadian. And it's not hard to build. It takes a little longer to cut to the right angle, the struts, but it's doable. The size of the dome is about 15 feet in diameter, which makes close to 180 square feet. If I could, I would go much bigger, and maybe 2 of them.
Okay, after growing in a geodesic dome greenhouse for several years, I would totally recommend it for cold climate. And we love the structure of the dome because, in our northern climate, the sun comes really from every direction. And it makes it just so wonderful. Plants love it. The other advantage of the dome is because it's really coloring some part of your garden. So you have the original soil and still, warmer. Yeah, a geodesic dome is the way to go. We blog about all of this, how we grow in the geodesic dome, how we grow in our cold climate, what our challenges. We have a ton of information on gardening and cold climate. Check it out at northernhomestead.com.
So hopefully you found this case study really interesting. If you want more case studies, I've put a link to all of our case studies in the show notes below. I've also placed information specifically on how to build this greenhouse, as well as other pertinent blogs that Anna and Jacob have written about on northernhomestead.com. So you can link directly to them there. Reach out to them, send them an email, get in touch with them, let them know what you're interested in learning more about. And so make sure you click on the link below if you want other case studies, and hit the like button if you found this video interesting. And we'll be likely back on this property sometime in the future to report on other stuff that they're doing, because there are so many cool projects on this property. Thanks so much. Have a great day.